Hello and welcome along to this ILC ClaimsTech 2022 interview with gold sponsor Solera Audatex. Here we speak with Neil Garrett, UK, South Africa and Nordics Sales Director, Solera Audatex, to find out the latest developments across its business and technology platforms. Enjoy the interview. Fantastic. So thank you very much for joining us, Neil. Really good to catch up with you. And how's the world treating you?
Very well, thank you, Mark. Very well. Can't complain. No one listens if you complain.
Hey, don't we know that true? So really good to catch up with you, especially on this kind of claims tech side of things, doing some fantastic things there at Solera Audatex. So tell us all about latest developments. What's going on, hearing about Capta making its kind of debut into the market sometime the end of the year, perhaps. So what can we expect?
Yeah, very brilliant. Thank you, Mark. So just in terms of Solera, last 12 months, I think like a lot of organizations, very, very busy coming out post-COVID. We've been starting to roll out Capta, as you mentioned, on a module by module basis. To ultimately replace our Enterprise Gold, which is the legacy estimating system in the market. But also alongside that, we've been busy, duty of care to Enterprise Gold. We did the latest upgrade of that back in May time, and really brought together a few extra features within that system as well for our customers. So we concentrated in the upgrade on kind of more universal graphics coverage, Mark. So very much around additional vehicle types that we know are kind of normal manually created on assessment level. So for things like tractors, electric scooters, topical at the moment in a lot of cities, pickup trucks, quad bikes, just really on the more proliferative vehicles, which will also be available in Capta. So that was one of our main kind of upgrade on the graphics with Enterprise Gold, with an eye to Capta as well. And then the other bit was really around additional data fields, which we put into the system for management information reporting purposes, which is very much around fuel type. So obviously a big topic of conversation, electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles at the moment, and how we record those from a assessment perspective. So what can we do with that data to help, insurers, body shops work out, the number of cars they're repairing that are electric and hybrid, the import status of those vehicles as well. So we teamed up with our sister company, Cap HPI, to kind of, use data across the vehicle car park to really segment that in a much more granular way for our customers. They can really understand what that looks like. And then on top of that, security provisions, usual, software upgrades to security and compliance across those platforms.
It sounds like you've been busy people there, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, and then probably the biggest thing outside of that has been the big, very large global data center migration move. So on a global level, we've made decisions at Solera to invest very heavily into moving a lot of our infrastructure and data storage centers into Equinox facilities. So we partnered with Equinox. For people that don't know, they're kind of state-of-the-art data centers, usually around full advantage of cloud technology, networking, storage, and compute software. So what that really gives us is the ability to accelerate digital transformation at a much greater pace than we could do on some of the old legacy data center world. So we're very much gearing up to the future. And then it's been a bit painful the last few months as we've suffered a few kind of outages in the market, which the customers will know about, as we kind of made that move for migration. But we're kind of coming out the other side of that now. So we're in a much better position to really support our customers on the digital journey.
Fabulous. And in terms of being a global entity, reference Capta and UK specifically, but you're at different phases throughout the world, really, in terms of Capta. And just give us an oversight, how the land lies there, really.
Yeah, so Audatex as a company, as a brand, is in 90 countries. So we have Capta rolled out in just under 30 countries at the moment. And the UK migration obviously has been going on in terms of the different stages of modules we're rolling out, and very much focusing on kind of the different use cases that are available in the market. So we're looking at from a Capta initial rollout, photo-based capturing of images, to AI. So can we use that to generate parts lists? Can we use that to generate retail type quotes for the body shop community? If you look at it from an insurer's perspective, can we then integrate that and bring that to market from a total loss perspective? Can we identify total losses? Can we then help guide and triage the work better, into body shops? So they're working on the right kind of jobs that they want to work on.
Super. Now, a few can we's questions there, and the mention of AI, and this kind of, always springs up in people's heads, right? What is AI? How is it going to affect us for the future? But, what is the feedback from the market then? What are people asking for in this? I'll use the term new world. It might be a bit cliched, but, where are we at the moment with what people want in the market?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question, Mark, and really topical. So what we've done for the last, we started it about May time. We thought kind of long and hard about that question because we had a perception in our head pre-COVID, if you like, of the technology and what it was bringing in different markets. But what we've seen on a global level is, post-COVID, kind of changes in certain behavior, in some of those markets and repair shops and insurance companies, and traffic on the road, different changes to kind of peak driving hours, that kind of stuff. So we realized that kind of the old norm isn't necessarily the new norm. So we thought the best thing to do is probably ask the customers, what really do they want in the new world? And I guess from a repairer perspective, what we did in June is we started a survey to all our body shop customers, had a fantastic response rate, through July, really to kind of say, well, what's technology going to do for you? How do you want it to work within your shop? And the main aims we were looking at in the survey was really the impact of staff shortages. So from an AI perspective, did they see, that helping in the staff shortages world? The time they're spending in the body shop world doing light and heavy damage assessment. So trying to understand from a shop by shop level, if it's a light damage claim, how long is it taking on average? If it's a heavy damage claim, how long is it taking to generate the actual assessment? And then really what the appetite is towards using AI and photo-based estimating in claims, really. So what barriers do they see as kind of implementing that technology? And the really interesting results from the survey, which we had a fantastic response on, the best we've ever had on any survey we've done actually, has been, the three main barriers, and the one that stands out the most and top of the tree, over 50%, said trust. Linked in an element to understanding as well, but trust, and then affordability, but trust was the main thing, and knowing when to trust the AI. So knowing when to, make a change if there's change needed on the assessment from an AI generated one, or whether to trust that the results are the results and they can be used in the marketplace.
Very, very interesting findings. And I suppose that's almost a real challenge, not just for you, but for the entire kind of technology world in terms of how do you ingrain that trust of AI? There's got to be a use case for it. It's got to be used for people to trust it in one way, shape or form. It's kind of the chicken and egg scenario, I suppose.
Yes, yeah, I think it's probably the biggest, or it's certainly one of the biggest barriers if you look at most industries to the adoption of AI. It's the element of the trust and the ability for the user to work with the technology and to understand at what point the technology is correct, but also at what point they might want to step in and help the technology. So still very much human-led, aided by AI, I think is where we're kind of at.
It's interesting. That kind of leads us on nicely. So then in terms of this technology and its impacts on the supply chain, how does it, again, with the ClaimsTech theme, show me the happy customers and the money? So how does all this kind of, build towards satisfying the customer and, how you determine who the customer is, at the end vehicle, the vehicle driver, I suppose, at the end of all of this, but also you've got multiple people involved in the supply chain as well. And also, business commercials. How does it kind of streamline the whole process?
Yeah, so probably one word, from what we see, is very much the word connectivity. So the landscape is changing, as we said, very dramatically. There's lots of technology out there that can assist in various ways, but joining that technology up to actually get the efficiency to give value to the end user and very much the customer, the driver. When I say that, that's really the person I have in my head. How do we get the car fixed quicker, faster, safer, and back to them so they can carry on with their lives? And I think how technology forms part of that and joins the dots of the different, main technology systems in the market, from the body shop management system to the estimating system to the insurer's claim system, is kind of really the key to joining those data points. And the world is experiencing rapid technology change, as we know, across many industries and many segments. Take technology on cars, for example. The stuff that's on the cars nowadays is very, very different to when I had my old Ford Escort XR3i, which I thought was the bee's knees. So, you're looking at technology in cars, how you're going to repair those vehicles, electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles, working with Fatcham and research methods and what they're doing over there, the latest search methods on these new vehicles is really bringing everyone together. So when we look at Capta and what we're doing there, it's really trying to take that all-encompassing view across the claims ecosystem that we've had for quite a while in the UK, and how we can join those dots from an efficiency point of view.
And joining those dots, how at the moment, or kind of what partnerships are you seeing? Are you seeing partnerships with other technology outfits? Is that where you're looking? Are you, working with current partners, insurers, body shops at the moment? How are they kind of, I'll use the term winning by using your system? What's actually, is the true or real outcomes of this currently?
Yeah, so I guess you've given a tangible example of that. So at the moment, obviously, we're engaged with all the leading UK body shop management systems, speaking from the repairer perspective. So, the products out in the marketplace, and really looking at the process, for example, the updating between the body shop management systems. So at the moment, it's typically one way. When we update from the assessment, we update the body shop management system. So engaged in some conversations with BMSs around, two-way updates. So can we receive information back into the estimate where it's relevant, parts prices, as an example, excess changes that are needed to make the customer journey better from an output point of view. When we look at the photo-based element and the AI element of Capta, the ability to generate a initial cost from an image before the vehicle is on site, for example, has then the added benefit of generating a parts list that could be integrated into a parts procurement platform that then interrogates stock availability in a much more dynamic way than happens today in the industry, which means the body shop can make the right decisions whether they bring the customer in or pause before a courtesy car becomes available. So I think when you talk about AI in a tangible example world, there's kind of two examples there of, working with, the BMS or the parts procurement platform, or able to bring the technology into those environments.
Fantastic stuff and really fascinating. And do you see that changing the role of, I don't know, the VDA, for example, or whoever's involved in this kind of process within the body shop? Are there new job roles that we're kind of looking at now?
I think it gives the potential for the repairer to reimagine their workflow, to reimagine how they want to process those claims in the body shop. So I'm not saying new roles, but certainly the chance to reimagine, to free up space, to free up capacity within the people that are doing the work. I think obviously the role for the VDA, is still there, still very much relevant, in terms of assessing that vehicle when it's on site. I guess the stuff you can do with AI, so before the vehicle is on site, can you triage in a better way? Can you move the vehicle to the correct location? If it's a mobile repair, can you get it to a location that's going to be able to repair that car quicker for the end user? Again, with that end user as the vehicle driver in mind. So I think very much it's there to assist and give us the ability to reimagine. I think some people will reimagine, like anything in technology. Some people will be slower to move into that area. But AI is really there to help and support, the body shop world, and ultimately to bring more profitability to them from that perspective.
Again, fascinating to see how the world reshapes with the ability to implement AI in this form and in this shape within the sector. I suppose it's how far can your imagination take you, and how can you deploy it accordingly? I think that's the wonderful and really exciting time. So next steps, where are we? What's the kind of next key advances? What can you tell us without giving everything away? But what can we expect from Solera Audatex next in the UK?
Okay, so for the rest of 2022, we'll be working really with our kind of pilot customers on Capta. So as a direct replacement for Audatex Enterprise Gold, which is in 2023. But in parallel, we're also deploying, the AI modules of Capta into our customer base, where they work alongside or complement. So, for example, the generation of blueprint assessments for retail quotes for parts ordering, which can happen independent to the assessment creation. Damage detection, for example, to help with mobile repairs, so where we're doing a menu-based estimate. Total loss identification, yes or no? Can we triage that vehicle better? Really from an insurer perspective, but also within the body shop sometimes. And then also the intelligent review side of that, which is effectively looking at using the AI to look at inbound assessments to help them, insurers, identify any kind of leakage on those assessments.
Sounds like you've got a busy time lined up for the rest of the year. That's for sure, Neil. So thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you taking the time out to talk us through what's happening with Solera Audatex.
Brilliant. Thanks, Mark.